welcome to another episode of One Town, One Community. Today we're with Ivy Music Academy, and I'm here with Todor Stoyanov. Todor, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Tom, and again, thank you for doing this for us, for helping us, and giving us the opportunity to talk in front of so many people.
Could you explain your role? I think in the Ivy Music Academy, I believe you started it with your wife about 8 years ago or so?
So we did. In fact, on November 1st, we'll be celebrating our 8th year birthday, and we started it on November 1st of 2012. And we started with only 4 students, and now we are growing. We have more than 120 for the time being. Yes, it was a slow start, and I never will forget the open house on November 1st when only these 4 students showed up with their parents, and but they like the school, they love the atmosphere. We try to make it very friendly, and we're growing since then.
That's awesome. Could you tell us about your story? Would you start this because of your love of music, and why Norfolk?
So if we have to describe our school with 3 words, it will be passion, love, and dedication. Passion for music. All our teachers are great musicians. They live with and for music, including myself. And love. We all love our students, young and adult. And dedication. We think always, and we do everything possible to give our best to our pupils.
Awesome. So I think we have some clips from 2 of your students, Akira and Elisa. Is there anything you would like to say before we play those clips?
So both of them started very young. Akira was just 4.5 when she started playing piano, and now we added voice lessons to her schedule. And you can see how much she improved. She started learning just the notes and simple theory. Great. And the same for Lisa. She was 6 when she began with the piano lessons, and she improved immensely as well.
Hi, I'm Akira, and today I'm going to be playing Habanera from Carmen by Georges Bizet on the piano.
And I'm going to be playing an untitled piece that I wrote.
what's the most rewarding part about running a business in Norfolk?
Um, it is the community, if I have to use just one word. We've been doing this for years, and the reason for starting there was one of my student parents, Daniel Rochford. She presented me to the town, and I started coming to Norfolk 15, 16 years ago even. So I met many families, and I love the attitude and their desire to learn more, and music in general, and piano in particular. So I love the area, I love the people, and their passion for art and music.
Awesome. So it's been kind of some crazy times lately. How has the coronavirus affected your business, and what have you had to do to change to?
So when we talked prior to the interview, I said that I feel very nervous in front of camera, and words is not my strength, but music. And I wanted to play a short piece for everybody in Norfolk. In these dark times, we need hope, we need art, we need dance, we need music and light. And this is one of my favorite pieces.
Awesome.
That is light. So as I said, I can express myself much better with music.
Awesome. I totally understand that. I have two more questions. One, in what ways does Ivy Music Academy support the town of Norfolk?
We are involved in many activities, in many events. For example, we organized the Christmas dinner and concert with the fire department in Norfolk for the elderly in town. So we brought several of our students, young and adult, myself included. So we had a 1 hour concert during the dinner. Also, we participate in the annual Christmas caroling, which happens 10 days before Christmas at the gazebo right in the downtown. And we love doing this. We either play or sing or both. Again, we bring our students who can sing and play different instruments. I accompany the children's choir there. And also we participate in many different other events and concerts in all three schools where we send either one of our teachers or some of our students.
Great.
We try to participate in any fundraisings as well for any good causes throughout the town.
That's great. So finally, what message would you like to send out to the Norfolk community?
Please be strong, and I think together we will raise much stronger. And we need art and I keep citing a very good saying that the art and the music in general will make the world better.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, Todor. I really appreciate it.
Be healthy and be well, all of you.
So now we're here with Justin Cahoon, who's the piano and singing instructor for Ivy Music Academy. Justin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty well. How long have you been involved with Ivy Music Academy and in what capacity?
So I've been working here for about a year and a half now, and I started as a piano instructor, and they found out that I had a few private students, like a few vocal students, and they needed some help. So then I started taking on vocal students, and now I'm just taking on both piano students and vocal students.
Cool. So if you could just describe Ivy Music Academy in 3 words, what would they be?
It would inviting, professional, and organized.
Awesome.
And I've worked for a lot of people, a lot of musicians, and that's why I chose those 3 adjectives, because that's why I'm still here. And they attract so many students of different backgrounds and different ability levels, and yeah, it's just a great place to work.
That's really cool. So could you talk to us a little bit why you believe music is important to a young person's growth?
I think that it gives it teaches you how to learn. So if you can, no matter what your intention is with music, or even to what capacity you want to be a musician, you will at least over time learn the proper way to learn something, like when to not have self-doubt, when to stop thinking and just doing, and then get yourself to a point where you can actually enjoy it. So I think I've learned a lot more from teaching than the kids probably learned from me. So
Sweet. So going off that, I think we have a couple videos of some of your students. Is there anything you'd like to say to introduce that?
yeah, so Natalie is a piano student of mine, and she, I think, came to me like 7 months ago with a lot of experience. She had had a teacher, and she was on like the 4th book out of 5 in the Faber series specifically. And I think she had taken some time off, maybe a year or so. And she came to me sort of not really knowing what she wanted to do with what she already knew. So we finished what she started, and we finished the Faber series. And now we're trying to explore different genres to see what she likes and what she likes to play. So in this video, this is her first ever jazz song she's ever played. And we used a book they use at Berklee College of Music to introduce how to play jazz piano to incoming students. And so she's playing Autumn Leaves from that arrangement.
is it that motivates you to keep doing this and keeping this as your career or at least a hobby?
As a teacher or as a musician?
Both.
Both. I would say that at this point, teaching is what keeps me a musician. But I came to music never wanting to be a teacher. So I came to music because I like music and I liked expressing myself with sound. And, I'm sort of a theatrical person and I considered doing acting, but I felt that music was a better fit for me ultimately. And it's basically only as soon as I started working here did I decide and discover that teaching is for me, and it motivates me to keep learning because then I can inspire my students more. Like the better I am, the more the kids are going to want to learn, So yeah.
Cool. What would you say the most rewarding aspect of being involved with teaching is?
I think that it's, for me at least, it's to remind myself of the lessons that I'm teaching them. Because to some capacity, to some degree, I am still working on the same things that I'm telling them, just at a different point. And, when I'm trying to get a group of 5-year-olds to sing and some of them feel uncomfortable, I just tell myself the same thing I tell a 5-year-old, which is just like, go for it, see what happens, accept what happens, and try not to judge yourself, because the moment you judge yourself, that's the moment you're going to do worse than you would have already done.
Awesome. So I know we did touch upon this a little bit, but aside from learning the music or the actual instrument itself, what other skills do you think develop going through that process?
I think for everyone, yeah, even from a highly skilled person, in the sense of like some people just like some people are really good with math, some people just pick up music a little bit easier or a lot easier, but that person still needs to work on the same thing that the person who struggles with it, which is how to concentrate. So with music lessons, even the structure of coming once a week for even just a half an hour, trying to each week, I noticed that every student at every level does get better at concentrating. So I think that it improves concentration, and so in whatever you choose to do in life, you're going to need to be able to concentrate. So
what final message do you want to send to the Norfolk community?
I would say that if you like music, come on in. It's an open door. It's a lot of fun. And the more people that are taking lessons with us, it's sort of like the larger and more fun the performances and recitals can be when we can have recitals again. But we're having online recitals. We're having our students record themselves and share their progress. And I've noticed that with all the kids, creating recordings and sharing them on Facebook makes them want to practice more. And even though we're not interacting in person, we are interacting as a community online. So
Cool. So how does that work? What is that like doing it virtually? Are you holding any classes in person right now, or is it all virtual?
I'm teaching 3 group classes. We are socially distanced, and the size of the group classes is reduced due to what's going on, right? Before, I think we would have just, however many came, we would teach in a class, but now we limit it to 4 and 5. And in person, the school, not all of the teachers are teaching on the same day, and the students are spread out. So, but I teach probably half and half right now, half in person and half still online.
Interesting. Well, let's hope that it returns to normal soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Lately, I've been thinking, I want you to be happier. I want you to be happier when the morning comes. when we see what we've become. In the cold light of day, we're a flame in the wind, not the fire that we've begun. Every argument, every word we can't take back. 'Cause with all that has happened, I think that we both know the way that the story ends. Then only for a minute, I wanna change my mind. 'Cause this just don't feel right to me. I wanna raise your spirit, I wanna see you smile, but no, that means I'll have to leave. No, that means I'll have to leave. Lately, I've been thinking, I want you to be happier, I want you to be happier.
Okay, so what you just heard was one of Steve Marchena's students, who is a teacher of guitar, ukulele, and harmonica. How's it going today, Steve?
Great. How are you doing, Tom?
Pretty good. So, if you could best describe Ivy Music Academy in 3 words, what would you say?
Fun, artistic, and future-minded.
Awesome. How long have you been involved with Ivy Music Academy, and in what capacity?
Well, I've been teaching guitar lessons for Ivy maybe a little over 8 years, just about since they opened. I've also taught classes at the school itself, and then on behalf of the Ivy Music Academy for Norfolk Recreation and Walpole Recreation. My orchestra was featured at a few different recitals. Tal's Top, I led that orchestra for Ivy. Recently, I produced the audio and video productions for the virtual student recitals. And I wrote the course descriptions. If you go to the Ivy website and check out what's written about the guitar program and the ukulele program, I wrote those for them. So I do a lot of things there.
Cool. Why do you believe music is important for a young person's growth?
Well, I think music is inherently important. Let's start with that. Like, music for the sake of music is important, but there's all kinds of benefits in life from the study of music, and for a young person, things like understanding project management and responsibility are very important. But in general, it makes them aware of everything that's going on around them. I'd say, like, listening is an important skill no matter what you do in life, and it is central to any type of music study.
Good answer. As a guitar, ukulele, and harmonica instructor, is it the love for music that keeps you going, keeps you on this?
Yeah, as I said before, music motivates me to do everything. It is completely central to my life, and passing that along to a new generation is, I think it's probably the noblest contribution that I can make in this world.
Cool. And when students come to you, do they usually have an instrument that they know, or do you help students choose? And how does that process work?
Well, I teach all levels, but let's say if there's a student that has, usually they'll have an instrument when they come to me. But if they don't, then I guess there's 2 scenarios. One is if they're not sure which instrument they like to study, or if they know which instrument they would like to study, but they don't have that instrument yet. So if somebody wants to study guitar or ukulele, I should say, like, full disclosure, I'm a product ambassador for the company Ortega Guitars, and I know a lot about their line and their instruments. So I'll let the students know about that. Beyond that, I would say that there's a sort of a couple of criteria that people will consider in choosing an instrument, and one of them, I guess you might say, like, comfort and ease of play. I understand why people choose instruments based on that, but that's not really what I advocate for. What I want to know, when a student is trying to pick an instrument, for example, between a nylon string guitar and a steel string guitar, I will demonstrate a variety of techniques on both instruments. And then on one hand, I can ask them what they think, but I don't even have to, because if you watch the student's expression, you can see the light bulbs going off, right? So you'd be able to tell very quickly if they were more inclined to want to start on a nylon string guitar, for example, or a steel string guitar. I would discourage people from making their decisions about which instruments they play based on things like comfort, right? Because no matter how comfortable it is, if it's not inspiring you enough to practice every day, you won't wind up with a good relationship with that instrument. So I would say, let the student's ears be the judge. And if they love the sound of, for example, steel string guitar, or they love the sound of a chromatic harmonica, or whichever sound they want, I'll steer them in that direction.
That's actually a really good explanation of that.
Okay.
So what would you say is the most rewarding part of being involved with Ivy Music Academy?
Well, they've got a great clientele. I'll tell you that all of my students practice, and I'm flexible enough as a teacher, again, goes back to that listening skill, right? I will pay attention to what inspires them. And there's fundamentals of music, but there's many different ways to assimilate those fundamentals. So if a student loves Led Zeppelin, or a student loves Taylor Swift, or a student loves Beethoven, I'll steer them in that direction. So maybe the first thing that I'd say is all my students practice, which I feel very lucky for that. And then Todor and Vaska, who run the school, they're great to work with. They say what they're going to do, and they do what they say they're going to do. So it's a great professional relationship there as well.
That's awesome. And I know we've touched upon this a little bit, but aside from learning music and the instrument itself, what other skills develop in playing an instrument and developing one's music skills?
Well, so aside from all the benefits, sort of the pure benefits of music, the one thing I'd say is that listening is a crossover skill, where you need that skill to play music. But as I said before, you need that skill really for anything that you're ever going to do in life. So maybe I'm going to say listening is number one. But in general, I'd say that the study of music makes the students better critical thinkers. It certainly teaches patience. Let me say something about patience that is counterintuitive about playing a musical instrument. Is very often when a student wants to play a piece, one of the early goals is to pick up the tempo and play it at the original speed. Now, this is very counterintuitive, because if you have the patience to practice the music slowly and deliberately, where you're giving your brain the time to process what you know what it's like, Tom? It's like throwing darts. We'd all like to be able to throw whatever's in a handful of darts, 10 darts maybe, and have them all hit the bullseye. But the reality is, even if you come very close to the bullseye, if it's a little bit low, a sane person wouldn't respond by instantly throwing more darts right after that. When they know it's a little low, then they have to think about what they did right. Maybe it lined up, vertically with the bullseye. So they know, okay, I don't need to go left or right, but maybe it was a little low. So I need to, if I think about where I think I need to throw the dart, I need to kind of overshoot that a little bit to get the result that I want. So this all ties in with patience. Anybody that gets anywhere with a musical instrument has to develop patience. And as I said before, it's counterintuitive, because maybe I'll say when I was 15 years old, my big goal was I wanted to play very fast on the guitar. And it was probably the most important life lesson that I learned, was that until I was willing to devote the time and practice slowly and methodically, I didn't develop, a a clean technique. Once I realized, okay, in order to play fast, I have to be patient and I have to give myself time. Like with the darts, you throw the dart and then you recognize, okay, what could I do differently? You give your brain time to think. When you play through Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata very slowly, and you notice that, oh, one of those notes didn't sustain. That's the thing. If you played it quickly, you probably wouldn't notice when a certain note didn't sustain. It would just be your playing was just always a little sloppy. But if you practice it slowly and you exercise patience, you'll master that music. It goes without saying that patience is an important skill, like listening, in anything else that you do in life. The recitals that Ivy gives on many different levels, that teaches public presentation skills, which again, no matter what you wind up doing in life, that can be important. And then on a deep level, I can tell you that there's really no difference between music and math. Okay, the notes, the pitches that you hear, they're all related to fractions. So a lot of times, to understand how music works better, there are mathematical explanations for that. And math is something that, again, no matter what you do, you'll wind up dealing with math in some way. And then for people that dislike math, I would pitch this idea. If you have the patience to study it and understand it on a level that you become comfortable with it, then in your life, you don't really feel bogged down by the math. But you kind of have to embrace it initially. So math is another thing that students can gain some understanding of through the study of music.
That's awesome. I actually used to play oboe for quite some time when I was younger, and I can totally agree with all of what you said. It definitely helps me with those things that you've mentioned.
That's all. The other thing that we didn't mention, because you said outside of music, but if somebody has never played a musical instrument and they listen to an ensemble, like maybe a studio recording or a live recording, all these different instruments, they're like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. But if you haven't studied music, it's very likely that you don't see the pieces. You see the big picture, and that's beautiful. But by studying a musical, for example, if you heard oboe in a piece of music, now you're going to recognize, you're going to understand something about the technique that goes into that. You're going to understand, the challenges that are involved. And I think that because of that, you're going to have a deeper appreciation and understanding of the music you're listening to.
Definitely. Is there any final message you'd like to send to the Norfolk community?
We love you at the Ivy Music Academy. We love you, and I want to thank the Norfolk community, because obviously this has been a crazy year, and they've embraced. All of my lessons now are online, and that's a big adaptation for everyone. But I want to thank them for coming along for the ride, and it just gets better from here.
Awesome. And I think we have a clip from another one of your students, so we'll roll that right now.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Tom.
Hi, my name is Will Cassidy, and I'm going to be playing another Brick in the Wall Part 2 by Pink Floyd. And the reason why I'm doing this song is because during quarantine, we're all sort of stuck behind walls.